He got the interception, just made a wrong cut and kind of fell down and stayed down.
Senior linebacker Clay Johnston tore his ACL and was out for the rest of the season.
I was gonna have to go play a position that I wasn't really practicing for and not really repping that much. I didn't know how it was gonna go. Stepping into those shoes, it's kind of a big thing to feel. The leader on defense goes down and it's like, all right, you're up.
Terrel Bernard had to quickly switch from the will linebacker position to the Mike position in order to fill in for Johnston.
We had a lot of seniors, a lot of older guys on the defense last year, and coming in as a young guy, you don't want to let any of those guys down. You know what they've done, how hard they worked to get to that spot. So I think I kind of just pushed up and amped up my work ethic.
Headed into the 2020 season, there were only 2 returning defensive starters, and one of them had established himself as the new leader of the defense, Terrel Bernard.
At the end of last year, when we knew we were losing a bunch of guys, and we hear the talks about maybe the defense is going to be the problem this year, so everybody having a little chip on their shoulder, saying they're not going to be the one to let the team down.
The Baylor defense was leading the conference in takeaways, and Bernard was leading the Big 12 in tackles.
We came out really, really firing on all cylinders, offense and defensively. We get to the second half, they're running the ball a little bit, they're moving the ball, and we called a field side pressure, and I think it's me and Petrie are blitzing off the edge, and Purdy, he pump fakes and then takes it up the middle and starts running, and I'm chasing after him, and I'm close enough so I dive and lay out, just land wrong, feel a pop in my shoulder, and my whole arm goes numb. I remember laying on the ground just thinking, is this really happening? Everything rushes through your head, what's gonna happen now? Where am I gonna be at? It's probably 2 minutes, but the longest 2 minutes of your life, just laying down on the ground right there, trying to figure out what's gonna happen now. I knew I had dislocated my shoulder.
Upon examining his shoulder, Baylor trainers informed Bernard he most likely tore his labrum, but without an X-ray and MRI, they wouldn't know what else happened.
They do all the strength tests, and I couldn't really hold my arm up. Couldn't really move it that well. So I knew that it was probably gonna be it for me for the rest of the year.
But he didn't tell anyone what he knew in his heart to be true.
I didn't really tell anybody what had happened or what was going on, but I knew that it was probably done. But it's not a lower body injury, so you can run around, you can still use what you have.
Hoping to spark confidence within the defense, he put a harness on his shoulder and told his coaches he was ready to go back in the game.
It's a hard spot to go into a game in the middle of the game for Abram. So I said if I could go, I'm gonna go.
Bernard finished the game, but as expected, the game at Iowa State would be his last of the season. With a chipped shoulder socket and a torn labrum and joint capsules, Bernard had no option but to have surgery. And that meant Abram Smith, a converted running back, was next up.
When I had seen him go down in the Iowa State game, it was more like I got to go out there now, because I think for the most part, it's Terrell, I never really expected to actually go out there and really play, unless it was if we're up big or whatever it was like that, or he needed a break. And, but that man, honestly, I don't think he ever needed a break.
The following week, Smith had his first career start when the Bears went up to Lubbock.
And I remember I got to the actual game itself, and I'm sitting there, I'm stretching, I'm like, oh man. I want time to slow down, because I didn't feel like I was actually fully ready. And then I remember I saw Terrell, and I asked him, I ain't gonna lie, I asked him, I said, hey, you think I can do it? And he, without no hesitation at all, he just nodded his head and told me, yeah. He's like, what you think? So that right there kind of just drove me into a whole nother level.
I think the biggest thing is early on, trying to be the first one to tell him that I believe in you and I know you can do it because I've seen it. I think that's what Clay had done for me. Literally, after I saw him at the Texas Tech game, I think that's a big piece coming from coming from somebody that's been in those same exact shoes.
Smith finished the game with a team-high 13 tackles.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's just been so long, you know, just actually just sitting there and just waiting on my time, waiting on my turn. It was kind of just like, I'd say like a sigh of relief, you know, just actually just being able to go out there and play ball.
I don't want to take credit for anything that Abram's done because that's completely him. But, you know, just trying to help him out as much as I can while he's off the field, it's rewarding for me just to see him go out there and play well.
Bernard might be sidelined for now, but as the saying goes, once a leader, always a leader.
At first, you definitely feel kind of self-pity, you know, you start feeling bad for yourself, and then I got the opportunity to kind of be in Abram's shoes, so I had to start thinking about other people, and I thought about what Clay did for me and how hard that must have been for him. So you kind of throw that out the window of whatever you're feeling for yourself and start thinking about everybody else and what you can do to still help and, you know, provide some type of leadership in a different form.